sat in his car, engine off, hands gripping the steering wheel like it was the last thing keeping him from floating away. 30 years old, broken down Toyota, past due bills in the passenger seat. A voicemail blinking red on his phone from a landlord who had stopped being polite months ago. And in the rearview mirror, his own eyes, the same ones that had been telling the same story for years. It's their fault. They didn't give me a chance. Life cheated me. I deserved better. That day, he thought he was finished. But really, it was the day everything started. His name was Marcus Hayes. He wasn't lazy. He worked shifts at the warehouse. He wasn't foolish. He had ideas that could fill notebooks. But he was angry. Every disappointment was filed neatly in a cabinet labeled, "Not my fault." Of the coach who never played him, politics. Of the boss who passed him over, favoritism. Of the failed relationships, they didn't see his value. The debt, because the system was rigged. He could build an entire courtroom argument for why life had betrayed him. And the verdict was always the same. Marcus was innocent. The world was guilty. And yet here he was, 30 years old, bank account drained, spirit dragging behind. That night, a storm rolled through the city. Rain hammered the windshield, each drop like a drumbeat of accusation. He sat there, whispering his usual lines. "They don't care. It's too late. I never had what they had." But something inside him, maybe exhaustion, maybe grace, cracked. Because in the silence after the thunder, he heard a thought so sharp it cut through the rain. If blaming built anything, you'd have a mansion by now. He froze. Read it again. If blaming built anything, you'd have a mansion by now. The truth was brutal. Blame had built nothing for him but walls. Walls around his potential. Walls around his hope. Walls around the man he could have been. He had been building, yes, but only prisons. Marcus leaned back, rain streaking the glass like the tears he refused to shed. "What if I stopped?" he whispered. What if, just for one day, he didn't blame? What if, instead of pointing outward, he looked inward? What if, instead of stacking complaints, he stacked bricks? He didn't have blueprints for success. He didn't even have savings. But he had a choice. And choices, when repeated, become walls. Not the kind that trap you, the kind that shelter you. So he made a vow in that car, storm raging outside. "This is the last day I'll build excuses. Tomorrow I build something real." The next morning wasn't magical. The bills were still there. The boss still barked orders. His car still coughed like a dying animal. But Marcus did something new. He wrote 3 words on a sticky note. No more blame. And then he asked himself a harder question. If I'm not blaming, what can I build? The answer didn't come easy. His hands shook when he admitted it. I can build skills. So he started. Step 1, he found free online courses. Logistics, management, spreadsheets. Things he used to roll his eyes at. Step 2, he began showing up to work not as a victim, but as a student. Every box lifted was a lesson. Every scheduling mistake a puzzle. Step 3, he stopped gossiping in the break room. Instead, he asked the supervisor questions. Real ones. How do you plan inventory? What's the hardest part of your job? The warehouse didn't change overnight, but Marcus did, because for the first time, he wasn't counting his wounds. He was stacking his bricks. Of course, life tested him. When the promotion went to someone else, the old voice returned. See? It's rigged. But then he caught himself. No. If I blame, I build nothing. If I build, I win something, even if it's patience. When friends mocked him, "Man, you trying too hard," he smiled. "I'm not trying. I'm building." And when bills stacked higher than his paycheck, he didn't curse the system. He asked, "What can I sell? What can I cut? What can I create?" The world hadn't changed, but Marcus had stopped waiting for the world to hand him bricks. He started gathering his own. 2 years later, Marcus wasn't rich, but he was unrecognizable. He had a small side business helping local shops manage inventory. He was asked to train new hires at the warehouse. He had savings, not much, but enough that emergencies didn't crush him. Most importantly, He carried himself differently, shoulders back, eyes forward, not angry at the world, just focused on what he could build. And then one day, his supervisor pulled him aside. "Marcus, we've been watching you. You've grown, you've led, you've built. How would you like to manage the floor?" The boy who once blamed everyone now had people looking to him for direction. And maybe as you hear this, let me ask you to do something small but powerful. Comment one word, build, below. Let it be your brick, your starting point. Then keep listening, because this story is about you too. Maybe you hear this story and think, that's nice for Marcus, but my situation is worse. Maybe you're right. Maybe your storm is heavier. Maybe the bricks life handed you are cracked and jagged. But here's the truth Marcus discovered. Blame never builds anything but bitterness. You cannot build a future while holding a hammer made of excuses. You cannot build freedom while stacking bricks of resentment. You cannot build a life while staring at the rubble of who wronged you. But the moment you stop blaming, you start building. And once you start building, nothing can stop you but yourself. Think about it. Every civilization you admire was built by people who could have blamed. The immigrant who started with nothing. The inventor who failed 1,000 times. The leader who rose from broken streets. They had every right to point fingers, but instead they pointed hammers. And that's the strain this story asks of you, not just to feel it, but to question deeply what you're building right now. Because you are building something. With every thought, every word, every choice. The only question is, are you building prisons of blame or pillars of progress? So maybe today is your storm. Maybe you're sitting in a car or a bedroom or an office cubicle, whispering the same lines Marcus once whispered. They don't care. It's too late. I never had what they had. But maybe, just maybe, this is the day you stop. The day you trade blame for bricks. The day you stop waiting for doors and start laying foundations. The day you choose to build, even if all you have is one stone, one skill, one step. Because the day Marcus stopped blaming and started building was the day he finally began living. And maybe it's your day too. If the story spoke to you, comment build below. Let's see how many of us are ready to start. Hit like, subscribe for a new motivational story every day, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Together, we're building more than stories. We're building lives.